Hey, thanks for joining me today. Oh, what a lovely day. My name is Tom Coffee. This is the Coffee Nuance Show for April 13th, 2023. Today, we're going to talk about robots. That's right. I said robots. I mean, let's face it. Who wants to do all the boring, menial tasks we hate doing? Certainly not me. And I'm guessing not you either. Now, I know what you might be thinking, Tom. Aren't you worried about robots taking our jobs? Let me tell you something. I welcome our new robot overlords. I mean, come on. Who wouldn't want a robot to do all the heavy lifting for them? Literally. And what about housework? I mean, cleaning toilets? That's a job for robots. Don't like scrubbing out the bowl? It's a nightmare. But a robot? They probably clean it so well you could eat off it. Not that I'm recommending you that at all, but you get the idea. And laundry? I mean, who likes folding clothes? It's tedious, time-consuming, and frankly, just not worth it. But a robot? They'd fold your clothes faster than you can say, I hate folding clothes. It's not just housework. I mean, imagine a world where robots do all the jobs we don't want to do, like cleaning up after our pets, or mowing the lawn, or even taking out the trash. It's like having our own personal army of robot servants. And the best part? They don't complain. They just do their job day in and day out. Now, I know you might be worried about the future. Will robots eventually become so advanced they replace us? Well, let me tell you something. If a robot can do my job better than me, maybe I deserve to be replaced. But until that day comes, I say we welcome our new robot overlords with open arms. After all, they're here to make our lives easier and give us more free time. And if you're going to get a boot from your job, be replaced by a robot, at least hope it's one that won't steal your girlfriend and mix a mean cocktail. My name's Tom Coffee. This is the Coffee Nuance Show, the best censored commentary and news show live right now. Flame on. Oh yeah, robot overlords. I tell you, it is really something to think about, especially when I read this article about domestic tasks and how many are going to be replaced in the very near future, you know. Now, according to a survey of AI experts, household tasks such as cleaning, dishwashing, laundry and ironing, folding clothes are likely to be automatable within a decade. Within a decade. However, tasks relating to caring for adults, pets, children were viewed as less likely to be automated in the next decade. Almost 40% of experts viewed teaching a child as automatable within a decade, but less than a quarter believe that interacting with a child, escorting a child outside the home, and physical child care would be doable within the decade. Experts noted that societal factors such as the acceptability of automated child care and the development impacts of a child, as well as related privacy implications, could prove to be barriers for automation in these areas. But I welcome this. I think this is great. You know, I made the joke earlier about a robot that could make a mean drink, but there's actually some machines now, some robot bartenders. Now I looked into them and I wasn't that impressed. They do mix the drink, but it's still pretty pricey. I think I saw a model for $1,500. You can put 5 different liquors and 3 different mixers, and it will, you know, pour the drink for you into the mixer. It has a little thing in there that'll stir it up as well, but you got to add ice and pour it in a glass. How lazy can you get, right? And I think there'd be a lot of cleaning up with that. But if you had a robot that could do your dishes, well, now we're talking. You know, I think about how much time that you spend on just like home maintenance, right? Vacuuming, dusting, doing laundry, mowing the lawn, all these types of things. It's a good percentage of our week that we spend on those tasks. And it's not getting any cheaper to hire domestic help. With inflation, everything's going up. That's kind of out of the price range of a lot of people. And so robots, they could really do a job on this. Do you have a robot that's doing anything for you right now? I want to know. Let me know in the comments. I don't have any of these robots. I don't have a Roomba to vacuum and whatnot, but I'd have to check them out. I know the earlier ones would not have done well in my place because I have wood floors with rugs, and each rug has a slightly different height, and I don't know. I think the early Roombas did not do well with having rugs and on wood floors, but now I've seen some Roombas that will even mop your floor. Yeah, that's crazy. So home automation, it's coming, and we're going to have robots do so many things. I was a little shocked by this story, though, where they said that, where they were talking about 40% of domestic tasks could be done within a decade. Better start saving up, right? Because I want the laundry robot. That's what I want. I want the robot that will fold my clothes and put them away. Oh, pardon me. Can you hear that? Hey, shh, hey. My dog is right here and she's snoring. Doesn't she know that I'm live streaming right now? Silly dogs. In the future, we may have a robot that can shush our dog. But I like the idea of having a robot pick up after your dog. Let her go in the backyard and just have the robot go pick up after the dog. That'd be great. I welcome that. Anyway, let me know what you think about that. We got a fun show today. I want to talk about a couple of topics that we have. I want to talk about the AI scientific renaissance they say is coming. I'll give you an update on Escobar's pink hippos. I told you about that a couple weeks ago. Italy's migration crisis. Nick Cave has a very interesting observation on what it means to be rebellious these days. And lastly, I got some good news about positive thinking. So let's get into the first story about AI scientific renaissance. Alrighty, here we go. Do I not have it? Oh, I'm looking for the story. Here we go. Try it one more time. Researchers from IBM Research, Samsung AI, and University of Maryland have developed an AI scientist called AI-Descartes that uses logical reasoning and symbolic regression to reproduce Nobel Prize-winning work. The system has successfully replicated the work of Irving Langmuir's on gas molecules sticking to a solid surface, Kepler's third law of planetary motion, and Einstein's relativistic time dilation law. Descartes has the ability to identify which equations fit best in these background scientific theories and works particularly well with noisy real-world data and small data sets. The team hopes to eventually train computers to read scientific papers and construct background theories. This is crazy. This is wild that you can have an AI go through and recreate some of these fantastic scientific discoveries. What I do think will be really interesting is now all of these scientists can, you can probably find their dissertations, and it would be fun to run them through an AI and fact check them and see if their dissertations were legitimate or not. That is something that I think a lot of people, maybe they wrote their paper 30 years ago to get their PhD, and finally the technology has come around to check it and see if it's legit or not. You know, we talk about peer review with so many scientific papers, but peer review is not what you think it is. It really isn't. The peer review process is very flawed, and it has to do with reputation and just getting other people to co-sign it without much critical analysis of it anyway. I should do a longer talk about peer review, because what I found about peer review is it is not at all close to what you may assume that it is. But having an AI that's able to look through scientific papers and maybe make some new discoveries, or to tweak some of those scientific studies to find results, better results, that's really exciting. That can be good for everyone. That can be good for humanity. I think a lot of the problems that we're trying to solve as a society may actually be solved by a computer, by AI, rather than an actual scientist. You know, it could be a scientist using AI to solve some of these problems. I think it's very exciting times. Very exciting times, especially in scientific literature. I think that's going to be great. AI can go through and read it. We'll just have to see what happens with that. Bogota-Medellin Highway in Colombia on April 11th, 2023. Escobar smuggled 4 hippos in the 1980s, and they've now spread to a population of over 150 in the area. The hippos were officially declared an invasive species in 2022 due to large amounts of urine and feces they produce, which could pollute rivers and threaten the country's native manatees and capybaras. The Colombian government has dedicated $3.5 million to capture and transfer these to sanctuaries in Mexico, India. Other countries, including Ecuador and Philippines, have expressed interest in taking the nuisance hippos. Well, here's the update. One of these hippos walked out onto the highway over the weekend and was struck by a car, killed the hippo, totally destroyed the car. And when you look at the wreckage of this, it totally destroyed the car. It's as if the car hit a brick wall. That's how crushed it was from this hippo. So Colombia is moving faster. They are trying to control these hippos. They've become invasive species. They're trying to send them out to different sanctuaries around the world. But I just wanted to give you an update about these pink hippos. If you go down to Colombia, you got to check out the pink hippos. Did not see them when I was down there, so next time. We'll have to do that next time. Italy's government has declared a state of emergency on immigration as it faces a sharp rise in migrant arrivals along its southern shores. The move will last for 6 months and is intended to help manage arrivals and repatriation facilities. The government will also provide an initial funding of 5 million euros for this scheme. NGOs and human rights groups have questioned Italy's strict migration policies in recent months over concerns that it could violate human rights. And when it comes to this topic, I am really tired of caring what NGOs think. I'm tired of caring or even listening to what activists and human rights groups think, because they're not legitimate. These groups are being paid for by certain people to then represent certain political points of view. Just because you name your organization, we're the good guy organization, you should listen to us. And then they can go on the news, hey, I'm Tom Coffey from the good guy organization. This is what you should do, country. No. Just because you've got a name that makes the claim that you're a good guy does not mean that you're a good guy whatsoever. In my opinion, countries should be able to control who enters their country. That's the definition of a country. If you don't have a border, if you can't control your border, you don't have a country. There are only, there are like issues with the American border, and some people are just like, just open it up, let the market decide however many people come in and go out. You can't do that if you want to keep nice things. If it's all about redistribution of wealth, redistribution of resources, if you're in a country that has more resources, obviously that is going to be a magnet for people that don't have resources. And so, okay, maybe the U.S. is taking in 2 million people in the last year. I would say 99% of which are not, which are going to be an economic burden on the country. 99%. There's some won't, but 99% won't. You can only do that so much. So we take in 2 million people in this country. Well, how about 10 million? How about 20 million? How about 100 million? How about we just double the size of the country? Another 300 and something million people arrive here. There's no way that this is sustainable. We talk about sustainability all the time, and without being able to control what happens at our border, or how many people can come in, we're done. And so I understand Italy is saying we can't take any more. We need to have, we're declaring an emergency from all of these people arriving. I understand it. And I know that if you stand against just unbridled migration, that somehow you're a bad person, you're a racist, you're a xenophobe, get over it. It's not true. It's an ad hominem. It's just their name calling to try to manipulate you. I know that the billionaires that are paying for this, they're not welcoming those people into their own property, right? Right? They're rich enough that they're not welcoming in all of these migrants into their country clubs and golf courses. They're not showing up in Davos, that's for sure. So we need to stop listening to the voice of the billionaires that are paying off these NGOs and human rights groups. It's really too bad, because in the past I would always want to hear what a human rights group has to say about something. But I was duped, because you can just call yourself a human rights group and then you are? Is that all it takes? Well, if that's the case, I'm a rock star. And I want to be treated as a rock star. And everywhere that I go, I want people to run up and scream and take selfies with me, because I want to call myself a rock star, and that's what happens to rock stars. Do you get the logic here? Just because you call yourself a human rights group doesn't mean you're a human rights group at all. It's just a label. In the same way, I can call myself a rock star, doesn't mean that I am. So keep that in mind when we're looking at these stories. Anyway, let's get to the next story, shall we? Nick Cave, the Australian musician, he's revealed that his way of effing with people now involves going to church and being a conservative. Oh, I like it. In an interview with the Unheard podcast, Cave said that he has been more interested in irritating his peers and audience and igniting their imaginations than in protesting against the establishment. He added that he's come to see the world differently over the last decade and grew increasingly reserved after losing 2 of his sons within a 7-year span. The 65-year-old musician has repeatedly spoken out against cancel culture and political correctness. So I don't know if you are familiar with Nick Cave. He's always been a rebel, if you will. But what an interesting idea that the way to be punk rock, the way to be a rebel today, is to go to church and to hold conservative values. And I never thought that I would have heard that coming from Nick Cave. If you'd ever said that, if you said, this is what Nick Cave said, I'd say, oh, is that the same guy? Is that the same guy? No, because I don't think it is. But that's just an interesting thing to think about. It's just an interesting idea. And I find myself leaning more that direction as well. I really do. So, I don't know. Maybe I have that in common. Perhaps because we're both rock stars. Anyway, let's get to some good news. Older individuals with mild cognitive impairment, MCI, were found to be 30% more likely to recover their normal cognitive abilities if they held positive beliefs about aging, according to a study from Yale School of Public Health. Research based on 1,700 participants aged over 65 was the first to demonstrate that culture-based factors such as positive age beliefs contribute to MCI recovery. Positive age beliefs also reduce the risk of MCI development and enabled participants to recover their cognition up to 2 years earlier than those that held negative beliefs, the study found. I do think that this is good news. There could be a lot of correlation going on here as well. But it really does show the power of the mind and being positive. You know, one of the most powerful things that we have is placebo, right? If you believe something, you have a better chance of it happening. If you take a pill and you believe it's going to help you, it actually does have a noticeable effect. If you have if you're sick and you take a placebo and you believe that it will help heal you, you have a better chance of healing just by taking the placebo. And the incredible thing about the placebo is it works even if you know that it's fake. It's crazy. but that just shows the power of our own mind. And that's also the power of positivity, the power of prayer, believing, putting it out there, meditating on things will get you a better outcome than being pessimistic. And I hope that if you are a logical person, you understand that sometimes having a little woo-woo, having a little belief in something, even if you don't have evidence for it yet, is actually will give you a better outcome than being pessimistic and demanding, I'm not going to believe it until I see a peer-reviewed study, right? If it's for yourself or if it's for a loved one, lie. It doesn't matter. You want to believe and have a positive outcome, and it's going to have a better effect. And that was shown in this study for mild cognitive impairment. That's something that we're all going to have to deal with if we live long enough, right? So this is just one more take on me trying to get you to be a more positive person. If you like that, hit the thumbs up button. And if you are cynical and you don't buy what I'm saying about this, be sure to subscribe to the channel and watch every single video and tell me how wrong I am. That I welcome that as well. But anyway, that's all the stories that I have for today. Stick around in the after show. I will be reading your comments. Remember, tomorrow is Friday, so I will have a fact check for Fact Check Friday, and I'll be streaming live. Hope to see you then. Peace. All right. There again with the all right. So today I just want to ask, was the show as easy to find on YouTube as it normally is? Because I classified it as a podcast, and I didn't know if you would see it as easily, but I see a lot of the same people here, so I hope that that's the case. But let me know, was there any difference in finding the show today? So Miranda's in the chat, Eerie Fairy's in the chat, all the regulars in the chat. Nice to see you, Lucid Moments of Reality. I need a robot to mow my lawn. Yes, they do have lawn mowing robots. For about $1,000, you can get one. For the one that's about $1,000, you do have to go out and put stakes in the ground, and you can bury them, but so that they're guideposts, so it knows within what area to mow. And more expensive ones have more AI and cameras and the whole thing, so you don't need to do that. You can just send it out into the backyard and have it do everything. I want my Jetsons Rosie the Robot made. I do too. I certainly do as well. A couple people had Roombas here. Nice. I've never had one, but I would like that. Someone asked me, what kind of dog do I have? I have the meanest, harshest, most vicious pure American Pit. She's brindle. Her name's Coconut. And you better be careful, because if you show up unannounced, she may lick you to death. That's what she does. What's the stream's malfunction of the day? Pretty much exactly. Pretty much. It's snoring dogs so far. Aha. Too much schmoozing in the peer-reviewed process, says Natasha. I'm sure... let's see. Scroll. Cowboy cook Kent Rawlings makes his dogs part of his cooking videos. Maybe if you do that, it will grow your channel. I don't know if there's anything that will grow my channel, to be honest. I think this channel's been labeled, so it is what it is. Hippo infestation, yikes. Was the driver okay? The driver, I believe, was okay, but it was a vicious scene. Oh, this is interesting. Little something. All of the pictures, all of the graphics. Here we go. All the graphics today. This was all AI. I had AI do all of these graphics. So this was all created by one of the graphics AI sites. I just, for this one, I typed in AI Renaissance, and that's what it came up with. So I said, that's good enough. I just put in Escobar's pink hippos, and that's the graphic that came up. So I had a couple to choose from. So basically all I did is I put in just the title of the story, and that's what it came up with. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Let's look over here on Rumble. Liked and shared. Roomba knockoff we call Wally. That's a good name. Gonzo says, I don't see a pay chat option. Okay. No $ to the left of where you type in your chat. It's there for... Oh. Well, let me look. Let me look and see if I can see it. Oh, it's not there on Rumble. Interesting. It seems to have disappeared on there. I don't know what it is, but like I said yesterday or the day before, someday this week, I did say that Rumble has changed their chat, and so perhaps in the updates to their chat, perhaps there's an error with that, and hopefully they'll be fixing it soon. I will look into that for you. But thank you for alerting me to that. So now I know. Now I know I can go and look for that. Hippos are one of the most dangerous animals in Africa. That's scary. They really are, and they look so fun, especially when you're a kid and you see a hippo and they're just, so chubby and jovial. You think, oh, they're monsters. If you've ever seen them run, and they can run like in the water at an insane rate. They're like a bus. Just crazy. But they really are one of the most dangerous, and they kill more people than most animals you can think of. Do they kill the most? I'm not sure. I would have to look that up. It seems that everyone who says they're on your side have other agendas on the side. Two-faced politics. Very much so. Is Italy looking worse than San Francisco? It's looking different. I'll just say that. The people coming to Italy are different than the people coming to San Francisco. One of the things, one of the big issues in the European migration is it's not, for the most part, I'm going to generalize here. For the most part, it's all young men. All young men. And, it's not just like full families coming, migrating. No, it's all young men. And that's one of the issues that we have in the U.S. A lot of the people crossing the border to come up to the U.S. to work are all young men. It's not full families. And trouble, when you look up who is causing trouble, just in general, across the entire world, it's young men, right? that's who's causing the most trouble in the world. So when you're bringing in that demographic, there can be a lot of issues there. It seems that everyone, is like gender affirming actually means the exact opposite of gender distorting. Yes, that's what some people would agree with that. Tom, you're a YouTube rock star with us. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. They're all philanthropists, says the Erie Fairy. Yes, and they're funding things that actually help out their own hedge fund or whatever it happens to be. Jody's late, but she's here. Nice to see you, Jody. Conservative values, guess I'm a rock star too. Yeah, I guess we're all rock stars. A friend of mine says, want to be different? Stop lying. Everyone else lies, so just stop lying and you'll be special. One of the issues with that, though, is if everyone lies, they will just assume that you're lying too, even if you're telling them the truth. That's a conundrum. That's one of the catch-22 there. Miranda Kay says, I'm not conservative. That's okay. I don't even know how I would classify myself right now. I don't think that, I think that there are probably a third of the people in the U.S. that have beliefs that don't line up 100% with a political party or a political side. You know, I think, like, to me, a liberal value or a progressive value used to be being anti-war. Well, it doesn't seem that way anymore, though, does it? Like, that's growing up, that's what I thought, you know, like a hippie was against war, left wing was against war. Well, that's not the case, at least in American politics, that's for sure. But I would say that I'm, you know, anti-war. And then another progressive value, I guess, that I have is I think the U.S. is the richest country in the history of the world, in history, right? We should probably be able to figure out how to make sure that everyone can get affordable health care. Okay? I'm not saying free health care for everyone, but it should be affordable on some kind of sliding scale or something. Because it's ridiculous that every other civilized country on the planet has it and the United States doesn't. So if that makes me a left-winger, I don't know. But that's, you know, I think back to when I was a teenager, I fell on some glass and I cut my knee open. And it was a pretty deep cut, and you could actually see the fat cells. And I wanted to go to the hospital to get stitches, and my dad was like, "Oh, they're not gonna do anything. Let's just bandage it up." And I was insistent on going to the hospital because I don't think that we had health insurance, at least for me, when I was a teenager. So he had to pay out of pocket, and so we went, and they really didn't do much. I mean, they just cleaned it up and, you know, gave it a couple stitches, but it probably would have been just as fine with some Band-Aids or some kind of tape. And I remember it was like $300 or something. This was like, you know, early 80s, you know? And, but I don't think that any parent should have to make that consideration. You know, should I try to talk my kid out of going to the hospital when he's been cut open like that? I don't think anyone should have to make that decision. I think that it should all be that we should be able to take care of people. We're rich enough. I mean, if we can send $100 billion for a proxy war, you know, we can probably solve that problem. And then on the conservative side, you know, I'm very pro-family. I'm very pro-marriage, and I believe that I'm not down with all of the crazy woke gender stuff that's going on. Seems, yeah, I'm not into any of that stuff. I'm against all that. I've never been politically correct. I try to make this show as kind of viewer friendly as possible. I don't see any point in cursing on the show. I try to do that, but I think overall, as I'm getting older, I just like more wholesome stuff. So if that makes me conservative, I don't know. I don't know how I'd call it on that. Let's see. I'm looking forward to the end of the world. Definitely not. Okay, got the scroll going on here. I couldn't. Definitely not gloom and doom about it. That's good. Robots. I think in 2 to 10 years, this is Jesse speaking, we will have a whole different theological place, more than the level of change from the dot-com era around the year 2000. I think more is going to change in the next couple of years than in our lifetime. I think this is a really exciting time to be alive. I really am. Yeah, I just look under the podcast tab. Okay, good. So you know where to look. Erie Fairy, good. Yeah, the video was easier for me. Nice. Easier to find. Okay. I was notified, no difference. That's good to hear, Doug. I just wasn't sure how it was going to work on that. My notifications came up, and when you came on. Cool. Awesome. So I'm glad that that is working. And I just clicked the notify anyway. I just happened to look at the podcast tab because I was curious if it showed there already, and it did. Cool. Well, that's good to see. Pitbull, a.k.a. Texas-sized Chihuahua. Lucid Moments of Reality remembers Coconut. That is her name, Coconut. And I named her Coconut because she's brindle. And honestly, if you Google a brindle Pitbull female, they all kind of look the same. But she's got a white chest with brindle around it, and it reminds me of a coconut with a husk and the white inside. So that's how I came up with it. Hey, no more graphics department. Well, I still got to do a lot of graphics, and you have to choose which one to do. And but I thought it would be fun just to try, since I was talking about AI, just to try some AI graphics. I took a political compass test, and it came up a tiny bit left of center, says Bastille. The thing to keep in mind with the political compass test, I did a video on this a long time ago on Actual Justice Warriors channel. Got tens of thousands of views. It was really, really good. But the political compass test was written by people that were pro-libertarian. And so the phrasing of a lot of the questions kind of wants to lead you to think that you're, or to go like, oh, I guess I'm more libertarian than I thought. And so it's a clever way. I don't know if they did this intentionally or if it was just a innocent byproduct of it. But taking the political compass test often will show that you are, that you embrace libertarian values. Take that for what it is. Skin glue, yes. On those two spectrum political things, I am far left liberty and the bottom left quadrant. You know, I haven't taken any of those political tests, and I'm positive that my view on many topics has changed since I started this channel. When I started this channel, I did not pay much attention to politics. Very little. And because I'm doing the show every day and I'm reading the news and I'm fact-checking things and I'm looking into things, my views have changed on a lot of this stuff. Later on, the ER said that was a bad idea as they scraped it off and put it in stitches. I guess that's from a previous comment that I didn't see. They tried to warn us with the game Hungry Hungry Hippos. Indeed. Indeed. And no, I was behind a few minutes. Okay, show us the dog. I'll try to make a video of Coconut today, and I'll try to show that to you tomorrow in the after show. So I think that's all of the comments that we have today. Says, yeah, oh, you can listen to Tom at double speed because Tom isn't a fast talker. No, I'm a slow talker. In fact, it was funny when I moved from New Mexico to Texas. In Texas, they speak a lot slower than they did in New Mexico. And I had to get used to that. And I remember as a kid, my parents would complain about how slow everyone would talk. Oh, that was funny. But no, I'm not really a fast talker. I'm way more of a West Coast person, just on my personality and I think being a little bit more laid back. I definitely do not have an East Coast personality whatsoever. I think I'd have a rough time out there. Anyway, that's it for me. I will see you mañana for Fact Check Friday. Hope you all are doing fantastic. See you then. Peace.